Welcome to the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Friday, March 19th, Ian Cameron and a Jimmy Murphy that is on the road on this Friday with us here on the show. We're ready to break down this Friday NHL card, looking to bounce back. It was a rough night for me, for a bunch of us, unfortunately. But hey, it's what you're going to get when you're betting a sport every single day. You're going to have some tough days, and yesterday was one of those days. But we got 5 games to look over tonight on the card. Let's go and start with the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've got Toronto minus 155 to minus 160. Home favorites here, the total 6 across the board. It's a tricky game from a betting standpoint because these are two teams I view as the worst thing that could have happened was Calgary losing the way they did the other night against Edmonton, because I was certainly thinking Toronto would be in a bet-on spot tonight. They had been struggling, but they've been off now for a week. Sheldon Keefe and many of the players were talking about the need to get a little rest. They had played a lot of games, and fatigue had sort of caught up to them. And if you look back at the Sunday game where they lost to Ottawa last weekend, you saw a very tired Leafs team and just didn't play well, made mistakes defensively. But now they're rested. They got some practice time under their belt. They're going to have Wayne Simmons back from injury. And let's not forget, he was playing very well for the Leafs before he got injured. A big factor offensively for them. They're going to have him back in the lineup. Jack Campbell is going to be returning in a backup role, so that's going to help this Leaf team as well. Alex Galchenyuk will make his Leafs debut, or Alex Delchukluk, as Don Cherry would say. He'll be making his Leaf debut tonight in this one. So, yeah, I was definitely excited to bet on Toronto initially, but boy, you got Calgary coming off that awful game against Edmonton where they got away from those defensive principles, you could say, under Daryl Sutter, and just let the Oilers' power play run right through them. Giving up too many grade A chances. You would expect them to play a lot better, especially defensively tonight going into this game. So it's really, really a tough game for me. I definitely leaned initially to Toronto. Obviously, if you want Toronto, I would recommend taking them in regulation or puck line for better value. But right now I'm looking at a situation where Calgary, to me, though, is still a team that I'm reluctant in this price range to go against, coming off the loss that they had against the Oilers the other night. But bottom line is I'd rather be betting on these two teams than betting against them tonight. So it's a tough game for me, not one I have a strong opinion on overall. Jimmy, we'll get your thoughts here. What do you think between the Flames and the Leafs?
Well, I'll tell you, first off, Ian, you said we had a rough night. Man, did I have it rough. You saw that bet I made there on Appalachian State. I took them when they were way down. They come back and they lose by 1. And unfortunately, I had in the other half of that parlay, it was a 2-team parlay, I had UCLA. So I was going on a $5 parlay that would have netted me $120. And I was that close, but oh well. I'll take it. But anyhow, with this game, I'm with you. I don't like this spot for the Leafs now, especially with Calgary coming off that loss. Daryl Sutter, has been driving it home. They need to bounce home. That's not a guy that I would want to, suffer a loss under like that, because the practices and the mentality is going to be pretty hard on them after that. So they're going to want to get him off their back. I like them to win, but I do like the Leafs as well. So I'm going to take this to go to a draw, because I think this game means so much for both teams. And, the Leafs have been struggling. I think they come out and play a strong game, but I like this game to go to overtime, and I see the Flames coming out on top in either overtime or the shootout. So give me the draw on that game.
All right, liking the draw between Calgary and Toronto at a really good price there, as always, as you'd expect, over plus 300 with that. We've got Vancouver and Montreal. Montreal minus 180, home favorite.
Sorry, one more thing, Ian. One more thing. I wanted to put in a prop as well, my friend. Give me Wayne Simmons to score a goal in this game in his return for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right. Yeah. Always interested in that. Those are always nice angles when you got the player returning from injury, or the player returning from a healthy scratch, or whatever the case may be, a player returning from an absence to the lineup. They often want to put that best foot forward and make an impact. So, yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. It's a good thought. It happens a lot in NHL play when you got a player returning to the lineup that they may want to make an instant impact. And let's not forget, Simmons was playing well for the Leafs before he got injured. All right, the next game, we've got Vancouver and Montreal. Montreal minus 180, home favorites, total 6 shaded to the under in this game. The Vancouver Canucks have just all of a sudden, just gone on this run thanks to Thatcher Demko, thanks to an improved defense. I know Thatcher Demko gets a lot of the praise and the reasoning for this uptick in performance by this Canucks team, but I think Travis Hamonic and having that blue line fully healthy as well has made a significant difference for the Vancouver Canucks this year. And they are obviously playing much better hockey now. And this is all of a sudden a big game for them because Montreal's holding the fourth and final playoff spot in the North Division. Vancouver is trailing them by a few points. So these two games back-to-back coming up with the Habs are going to be important games for the Canucks. Thatcher Demko, they're going to ride him again. He's in net tonight. It'll be Jake Allen for the Montreal Canadiens in net tonight. So I would expect this game maybe to have a chance to stay under the total, actually. Under 6 would probably be a lean for me. You know, with unders, it's very tough for me to pull the trigger because my track record, all sports combined with unders, isn't very good. And that's a reason why I don't bet many. It really is. Look at Edmonton-Calgary last night. I liked the under in that game. It didn't have a chance. That's just one of many examples. So this game, in theory, I think could play out to be a lower scoring game. From a side perspective, Vancouver at this price is not a team I'm interested at all in betting against, getting this kind of price. On the flip side, you've got Montreal coming off the loss the other night to the Winnipeg Jets, where they battled back but fell just short. And lost in overtime with Nikolai Ehlers' game-winning goal. So I'd expect the Abs to returning home, try to bounce back and bring a good effort. But they've struggled at home lately, the Montreal Canadiens. You look at their home record; it's been a little bit up and down. So I guess if I had to lean one way or the other, I'd lean a little to Vancouver just because they're getting a really good price here against the Montreal Canadiens. But just a lean for me. I don't really want to go against Montreal in this spot tonight, coming off the loss. Like they suffered the other night against the Jets, and still think Montreal a little bit the better of these two teams. Markstrom's in net, by the way. Someone asking Jacob Markstrom in net for the Calgary Flames tonight in that game. So Vancouver, Montreal, lean to Vancouver, lean to the under, but I'm not going to have an official play. Alex B. Smith, by the way, is going to be back with us tomorrow. He's got an appointment today, so he'll be back with us tomorrow on the Saturday show. We've lost Jimmy, it looks like, momentarily, so we'll move on to the New York Rangers and Washington Capitals. Washington minus 140, home favorites, total 6.5, shaded to the under in this game. The New York Rangers, really, from the moment they got Artemi Panarin back against Boston on Saturday, I've liked their game. You know, they beat the Bruins in the first game with Artemi Panarin back in the lineup. They lost the first of the two back-to-back games against the Flyers, but easily could have won that game, in my opinion. And then after that, they ended up just obviously destroying the Flyers in the rematch. 9-0 victory on Wednesday night over the over the Philadelphia Flyers. So I like the way the Rangers are trending. And isn't it funny how the Rangers have had this kind of disappointing season, very mediocre, up and down. They have that big 9-0 win, and they have that win with the coaching staff, the regular coaching staff, not available for them due to COVID-19. You know, the regular coaching staff, all of a sudden, the regular coaching staff away from the bench, all of a sudden they have to go to the Hartford Wolfpack, and they end up having Chris Knobloch, Gord Murphy, who was the assistant coach there at Hartford, Chris Drury, and others taking over as the coaching staff with David Quinn, Jacques Martin, the regular Rangers coaching staff, unavailable. And in that first game with the fill-in coaching staff, they go out and have their best game of the year, and they win 9-0. It's pretty hilarious that it worked out that way. Look, Washington's a red-hot team. I'm taking a chance on the Rangers here, though, at the plus price. Georgiev is in net. He's played better lately. It's not easy to bet against Washington. They're playing good hockey. They beat the Islanders in their last game earlier this week. They've won 6 in a row now. But I like the way this Rangers team is starting to trend a little bit right now in terms of their play. We can't argue that since Panarin's return to the lineup, it's really given this team a spark up and down the lineup, playing better hockey a little bit. And when the team's starting to put something together, getting a underdog price like this in the plus 120, plus 125 range, I'm going to go ahead with New York here. The Rangers getting the plus 120, plus 125 underdog price here against the Washington Capitals. There's still some peripheral advanced numbers with Washington that are a little unsettling. You know, they're still giving up, sometimes as many, if not more, chances to their opponent. And I think at some point, especially with the Rangers offense starting to roll a little bit, that's going to show up. So I think the Rangers have a shot here to get the win, and I'll take a chance on them with the underdog price on New York. Jimmy Murphy back with us. Jimmy, what do you think here? Rangers, Capitals, and also Vancouver, Montreal, the last game.
I actually just pulled over. I'm in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot getting their Wi-Fi, so we're a lot better now.
All right.
I'll just sit here and we'll do the rest of the show from here. So, yeah, you know what? With Vancouver-Montreal, very interesting game there as well. Montreal better hope they don't go to overtime because, man, have they won yet in overtime? I don't think they've won yet.
They've not.
After that loss, I think they might be 0-9, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Winless in OT.
So that's pretty rough. So with this game, though, I'm going to go with the Habs on the puck line. I think they say no chance overtime. Let's just erase that thought right now. We're going to come out. We're going to control this game. I'm liking a 4-1 victory for the Habs. So give me the Habs on the puck line. And then as far as the Rangers go, I'm with you, Ian. I got a feeling the Rangers are about to go on a run. Once Zibanejad finds his game like that, the rest of their opponents are going to be in some trouble. And, Kreider's been solid all along. So you can get Zibanejad going. That's huge. And so I'm going to take the Rangers in regulation. Okay. And I'm also going to take their team total over.
All right. Liking Rangers in regulation. You can get that at around plus 145. And of course, Rangers team total as well. Jimmy liking that as well in this one. And you're right. Their offense now with Panarin, it's been different. It's been better. They've now, they scored 4 against Boston. Even in the loss to the Flyers in overtime, 5-4, the first game against Philly, they scored 4 goals. And then, of course, they had the 9-goal outburst in the second of the 2 games against the Philadelphia Flyers. So you definitely have to like the way this Rangers team, we know they've got the offensive capabilities. They do. And they just didn't show it a large part of the early part of the season. So definitely the Rangers improving a little bit. And there's a reason they're the underdog. But again, I like picking out short-term sample size, and the short-term sample size in the current form is the Rangers are starting to pick it up a bit. So liking them here and a chance for them to get this victory tonight. We've got St. Louis and San Jose. St. Louis minus 150, road favorites, total 6 across the board. Look, I laid a price with St. Louis on the road, and I paid the price for it the other night against the LA Kings. I can't say I am in a rush to back St. Louis here as road favorites. I'm not right now. So in this case here, I'm probably not involved from a side perspective. I do like the over, though. Look, the Blues are just not getting consistent goaltending from Jordan Binnington. And if they put Ville Husso in, he's not any better. So this is a team that's given up goals. They're scoring, though, with Tarasenko back. Sanford and Ryan O'Reilly and company have been big-time factors offensively for them as of late. I mean, scoring goals hasn't been the issue for the Blues. It's been all of a sudden their defensive play and their goaltending that has kind of let them down here in recent games. You've got San Jose on the other side, where we know what their defense and their goaltending is like. It's not very reliable. Night to night, of course, they blow the lead to Vegas the other night. They were up 3-1 going into the third period, and then the floodgates opened for Vegas in the third period, and they end up winning that game 5-4. So in this game here, I lean St. Louis. I still think they're better than San Jose, but they're supposed to be better than LA the other night too, and they didn't win that game. So and a terribly flat performance for a team on a losing streak. You should be playing a little bit better than they did against the Kings, and that was just not the case. I think the Blues win. Lean that way, but I like the over here in this game more than anything else. Over 6 at around even money. What do you think here, Jimmy, with the Sharks and the Blues?
Yeah, I'm going to go with you on that, Ian, and great points by you about the Blues right now. Kind of an enigma because usually they're more of a structured defensive team. It's kind of how Berube prided himself in playing. And that's how, he got them back on that streak that led to the Cup, was not just, by running and gunning. They had more structure. So they've kind of veered away from their game right now. I'm with you. I would maybe lean towards them, but this is more a game. I think when I'm talking about the side, I'll look at it in game, but I will take the over for the whole game right now.
All right, like an over 6 minus 110 here with the Sharks and the Blues. And we wrap it up. Final game, Vegas and Los Angeles. Golden Knights minus 70. Road favorites, total 5.5, shaded to the over. I'll tell you, the LA Kings are a feisty group. I mean, they had a tough time against Colorado, and I thought, with that the game against St. Louis postponed, stuck in Denver, didn't bother them one bit. Very impressive first period, and they rode that first period to a nice win against the Blues the other night. Again, we've seen Alex Iafallo, Adrian Kempe, Carl Grundstrom, Gabe Velarde. These are all younger guys for the Kings that have sort of – look, we talked about how this was an older, slower team for years. led by, of course, Brown and Kopitar, Doughty on the back end. But they're starting to get some of this infusion of youth, this infusion of speed, and a little bit more offensive abilities and talent and skill. And it's working for the LA Kings. I'm impressed, and they're a hardworking bunch. They're definitely not the better team than Vegas here. We'll see if they can step up in class here against the Golden Knights. That's the one issue with the Kings when they've had to play, better teams like Colorado and company that kind of struggled in those games. That might be the case here tonight against Vegas. So I'm definitely in this game thinking Vegas gets the win, but I'm going to lay off the Vegas side entirely here. It's a big price on the road. Kings have been competitive. They have been feisty. Maybe they hang around in this game a little bit. Do have a small bet on the over, though, at 5.5. Because I think the Kings are going to have a tougher time containing the Golden Knights. And on the flip side, I think the Kings can find their way to a goal or two because at home they've been able to score some goals. They've gotten, like I say, offensive contributions from all of those players I just mentioned. So with the total only being 5.5, and again with Fleury, for as good as he's been, he's played a lot of games. You got to think wearing down a little bit, kind of like what we saw from John Gibson in Anaheim. He's definitely not been quite as much of a brick wall or quite as sharp as he was, say a few weeks ago as the games add up. Although Robin Lehner's closing in on a return, and there's some whispers it might be tonight, so keep an eye on that. Vegas hasn't confirmed their goalie for tonight. We don't know as of right now who it's going to be, but expect Lehner's return to be imminent. It's a question of does Peter DeBoer end up going back to him tonight? But I will have a bet over the total here in this one, 5.5 minus 110. Jimmy, anything for you here? Golden Knights taking on the Kings.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting. I think I saw a tweet today. It might have been either from the NHL Twitter handle or the NHL on NBC. But anyhow, they were doing sort of the midseason Hart Trophy polling. And Ante Kopitar, 4th for the Hart Trophy right now, behind, who was it, Kane, Matthews, and McDavid. And I was like, whoa, really? Wow. But, you think about it, man, the Kings are definitely further ahead than we thought they would be. And I think that's a great call by you, analyzing them with the infusion of youth there. It reminds me a lot of the Bruins when Cassidy took over, and they still kind of had that cup core, but they were starting to slow down, and they said, enough of this. We're going to put some young, speedy wingers in there, and sure enough, they got things going again. So maybe that's where the Kings are headed. I don't think they're quite there yet, but I think tonight they'll get there, and that's why I'm going with the underdog. This is my underdog best bet of the day, Ian. Give me the Kings on the money line.
Wow, there you go. LA money line plus 150. Great price with that. And again, this has been a tough out. You got to work to beat the LA Kings this year. This is not a free 2 points anymore, like it was last season or 2 years ago. Again, they've really done a nice job blending in and sprinkling in some of these prospects, these guys they've drafted in the last couple of years, this youth movement, a little more speed because they were slow as molasses. We go back to the end of the Darryl Sutter era when they were really struggling. And of course, Sutter was relieved of his job. And then for a couple seasons after that, they were just not a very offensive, creative. They weren't a creative offensive team. They didn't have a lot of team speed. They definitely worked to improve that. And it's paying dividends because you got to have that now if you're going to play and you're going to win games in 2021 NHL. And we're starting to see that now with the Kings. So Jimmy going with the big underdog shot here with the LA Kings at plus 150. All right, there it is. Our 5 games on this Friday NHL card. Jimmy's going to be back with us on Monday. He's got Bruins duty tomorrow. Sundays are always difficult.
No, actually, for him. Ian, I actually can come in tomorrow now because there's no game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Very good. So we're going to have a full house because
Saturday or Tuesday.
So. Lined up. I don't want to cancel that. So I think we're going to have 4 people on the show tomorrow.
You know what?
So
if you want, well, we'll see. If that's too many, I don't mind taking whatever you guys want. Let me know.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah. I got to confirm too. The special guest that we're going to have tomorrow can still do it. But yeah, there will be multiple of us tomorrow for sure on the show. That's the problem. This time of year, tricky, very busy, lots of things going on. But good stuff, Jimmy. Here we go. Best bets before we get to that. Let's remind you to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code THPN when you sign up for your account. Look, we've got March Madness starting in full today. First round action. It is definitely now the time to get involved with DraftKings. Download the Sportsbook app, sign up for an account, and use the promo code THPN. All right, best bets. Jimmy mentioned his. There's no surprise at all. Spoiler alert, I guess you could say. Los Angeles plus 150 against Vegas for Jimmy Murphy's best bet. Mine is going to be St. Louis, San Jose over 6 minus 110. I like that one quite a bit. You've got two teams. Look, Sharks have struggled defensively all year. The Blues have struggled defensively lately. And I don't know if anything changes. So we're going to go with St. Louis, San Jose over 6 minus 110. That is going to be my best bet for the Friday NHL card. The special guest tomorrow is Ice King Betts is going to be our special guest tomorrow, or he was going to be. I think he's still going to be planning on joining us. He was with us on a previous Sunday on the show. Very good in terms of NHL betting. So he'll be joining us. So there we go. So King's best bet for Jimmy, and mine is going to be Blues Sharks over 6. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it. A little bit of a short show, only 5 games. And to be honest with you, there's wall-to-wall basketball. I want to get back to it. So with that in mind, thanks for joining us. For Jimmy Murphy, look, we usually give you a friggin' 1-hour show every day on here, but hey, we give you a shorter show every now and then, especially with the NCAA tournament going on. Hey, how can you give us grief for that, especially with the tournament going on? So great stuff. For Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. No, we're okay. I hear an ambulance in the background, but we're fine.
Yeah,
nobody's having a heart attack here. Some of these tournament games might give me a heart attack, though, the way they're going. A lot of them close down to the wire. So maybe that ambulance is going to be coming around my way at some point.
That's a long ride. I don't want that ambulance coming for you, Ian, because we won't be talking anymore.
No, I don't want to be going to Massachusetts Hospital. I'll be dead, on arrival. Way before that. Yeah, that can't happen. That's no bueno. Man. Good stuff, Jimmy. For Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on Saturday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.